Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And for the next session titled Evolution Challenges in Setting a New Normal for the Workforce, I am delighted to welcome and introduce Natalie Ruiz, Chief Executive Officer, Answer Connect. Natalie, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ivan. Hi, everyone. I am thrilled to be here. And after a year like this one, which many, even including Time Magazine, I just saw called the worst ever, I'm hoping that I can offer you some guidance and some hope about our way forward as business leaders. Undoubtedly, 2020 has been extremely challenging. Almost every aspect of our lives has been shaken up, including work. There's been a lot of talk about the new normal, about a return to normalcy. And that got me thinking, what is normal? Normal is just what we're used to. It's what we've accepted. And here's something that I realized after looking back at every major pivot point, big opportunity, or times when I saw myself, my organization, or the companies that I admire level up. Change is constant and evolution is necessary. In fact, I would say it's even normal. So, as individuals and as organizations, we have been brought to this point. And we've been brought to this point where we get to make some choices. We get to make choices about who we want to be, about how we want to show up, and about how we want to work for our employees, for our clients, for our industries, not only to meet the challenges of today, of now, but the challenges of tomorrow. And the good news is there is a way through it. So first, just a little bit about me and my company. Answer Connect is a business that has been around for over 20 years. And our core has been supporting and taking care of small and mid-sized businesses. That has been through answering service, contact center, and then more and more through software that could help support them, because our mission became centered around helping others work from anywhere. And that really came from a pivot point that we had. Back in 2007, we had a problem. As a contact center and an answering service, we were bursting at the seams. We were growing rapidly and we were out of space in our building. So we had a choice. We could either build a bigger building, buy more real estate, expand, or we could try something different. And we made the radical choice at the time to take our company remote, to start transitioning from a brick and mortar office to working from anywhere. And then if you can remember 2007, 8, and 9, we experienced a global recession. And while there were many unknowns and many bumps along that path, when we came out the other side, we saw that we not only survived, but thrived because of that pivot and because of that adversity. So I'm thinking back to that moment now that we've just lived through 2020. The unknowns, the big opportunities that came were things as simple as there weren't a whole lot of software solutions that could support a remote workforce in the way that we wanted to see that done back in 2007. So we got to work building some. And we iterated and we experimented a lot. So the moral of this story is that necessity is the mother of invention. So as we look forward, I see that there are 3 ways to move forward, not to what was normal, but to a return to work, we'll say. There is the full-time return back to an office. We're going to pretend like there's a way back to normal. There are so many challenges with this. We could eat up this entire presentation talking about it. There's logistics, there's headcount, there's rotating your shifts, there's the budget for everything that has to change in the physical space, and there's security. My question here would be, where do you want to be in 10 years? Is it in the same spot? And if it's not, why would we try to return to the past? aside from that, we are living and working through a global pandemic. So what are you going to do if somebody gets sick? And I'm not just talking about what you're going to do from an operational level or from a handbook or policy level, but as humans, with our coworkers, our people, our workforce, is it worth it? There's a flexible approach, that's option 2. And I have to tell you, we were there when we transitioned our company. The flexible approach means some are in and some are out. It's probably the hardest to manage because naturally the folks who are in the office, they're going to congregate and communicate and collaborate. And the folks who are at home are going to be reliant on tech that may not be the best, that may not be a platform that everyone is unilaterally using. And so there's going to be a lack of visibility. You're going to alienate parts of your workforce. It truly is the most challenging, although I could see some necessity for it, potentially some value. You all know what my favorite's going to be. I've already shown my cards on that. So the third way forward back to work is to start embracing the idea of remote work. And I want to say first and foremost, it's not easy. It's a big leap. And in general, if we were living in a different time, I would advocate a slow transition, lots of experimenting, and doing something like we did, which was to go position by position or department by department. But we didn't exactly have that luxury this year. We were all thrust into the deep end of necessity. So there's a few reasons that even though making the switch for many of your businesses is going to be very hard, I still want to advocate for it. The stats, first of all, speak for themselves, and I'll just leave this up for you to take a look at. I would also say, now that people have had a taste of working differently, no matter what that looks like for your organization, they don't really want to come back. The work that they've been doing on their laptops from anywhere is the work that they would do back in the office, minus the train ride, the bus ride, the commute, minus all that time away from their family. And after many months of doing something different, what is the real why for wanting to do anything else than move forward? We're going to spend about 30% of our lives working. And when you start tacking on commute time, that inflates even more. And that is more time away from our family, our friends, our hobbies, our pets. It's time away that could be poured back into things like employee engagement. The stats are actually pretty clear on this, that when you allow people to work with more flexibility, to work from home, they want to work more and they're more productive and they stay longer. And here's the facts. Most people want it. It is coming. It is here. So how do you do it? Well, we can dig into this a little bit more. Technology standards have to be raised. There has to be standards for security. There have to be all of these very important pieces that come together. But I think we should look at the bottom and start there. Being human is how you make it work. Having an experimental mindset about this and knowing that your first iteration probably isn't going to be a home run, it's essential to have open communication because you need your teams to weigh in on what is working and what is not working. That is really, really key because you won't be able to see them. And you don't want to have lagging indicators like a drop in productivity or some kind of large problem that comes up. So build in from the very beginning that it is an experiment, that you need everyone's voice in the room, and that there's a plan to continue changing what the approach is. The right technology makes all the difference. And I mentioned for my company, it didn't really exist. We tried a hodgepodge of off-the-shelf solutions. We were using maybe 8 different pieces of tech that didn't play well together. And it didn't also get us where we wanted to be. We wanted to have transparency. We wanted to have collaboration. We wanted to be able to connect, and we wanted to be able to continue to grow and learn and thrive together. So we built our own tools. And this slide shows many of the tools that I use, my team uses, my organization uses every single day. And they're great, and they're resources that will be available to you after this talk. But the real key is that the right tool is the one that you'll use. So again, I'm really big on this idea of going into it with an experimental mindset. Try things out. Have your teams try them out. See what pieces they like and they don't like. Every business is going to be different, so you'll probably need a different lineup, different tweaks. But you do need visibility. You do need to be able to connect, and you do need to stay nimble. So before I get all the way through this and we never talk about the office, my company also has real estate. We did see some value in bringing people together at some cadence for a shared meal or an activity or an all hands. And like I'm sure many of you, we've got leases, and we've also got people who aren't set up for the most success to work from home, whether it's their role, their specific circumstance, or something else. So if you are going to make use of an office, I feel like it should go without saying at this point, but taking the proper precautions, leaning on experts for how to do that, and erring on the side of safety is my strong advice. And as we have many, many people attending this conference from many different businesses, just know that returning to work is going to look different for every organization, and that's okay. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the future of how we work and how we connect. The days of just walking up to somebody behind their desk and maybe catching them for 5 minutes and having work flow in that way has been radically changed. So I want to focus on video because video has been probably the silver bullet, the magic wand for our organization to thrive while we are globally distributed. It's the next best thing to being in the same room. You can build that connectivity. You can build rapport. It's also the shortest distance between A and B. How many misunderstandings happen through chat, through email? How much lost time is spent going back and forth? Jump into a video call and do it regularly. Build that into your day-to-day. And it sounds crazy. We've heard a lot about Zoom fatigue this year. I think it's a different mindset because we used to see each other in an office all the time. So again, every organization is going to be different, but bake video into your every single day, whether it's a morning kickoff meeting, a daily stand-up, one-on-ones, group calls. You need to see each other. And that is key to maintain that high level of productivity, being connected, replicating what is core to making your organization you. And that leads me to culture. So culture is often kind of forgotten. We focus a lot on the logistical side of making this work. The return to work, the return to normalcy. What is that going to be like? When we talk about our businesses, culture is the thing that we forget to talk about until maybe there's a major problem. Culture is the North Star. It is the guiding light that tells your employees how to think, how to behave, and how to act when you're not in the room. It's a framework for them making a decision. In most cases, the manager, the boss, the CEO is not going to be in the room, on the call, or in the email thread when key decisions are being made. And that is whether we return to an office, whether we have a hybrid, or whether we go fully remote. It's just not the case. So how do we empower our employees to act independently, to think autonomously, but to stay on the right track as we continue to evolve? The world is changing very quickly. And I would say that a focus, a double down on company culture is where it's at. Now, there's good news on all of this. Culture isn't your office. It's not a catered meal. Luckily, it's not posters that were on the wall of an office. It's not even the events that you all did together. It's not one specific thing, one specific location, or anything that's specifically tangible. Culture is who we are. It's who we aspire to be. And as much as I wish that it was the opposite, it's not what executives say it is. It's not what I get to say my company is all about. I like to think of culture as what our employees, what our team members, what they talk about when they're at their dinner table. How do they describe work? That is company culture. So how do you do this? And especially, how do you do this at a distance? So you do this at a distance by really focusing on who you are and who you want to be. Be intentional about this. At my company, we've invested in paid learning time for all of our employees because we want to have a culture of lifelong learning, as an example. And you can do that from anywhere in lots of different ways. Spend some time focusing on your core values. There's lots of exercises for this and ways through it. We don't have time today, but it's worth it. There's fun and easy things like a virtual team lunch or a virtual coffee break. And I have to tell you, after more than a decade of working from anywhere, my door is more open. I'm more accessible and more connected to the workforce and what's happening than I ever was in a physical location because you have one-click connections. So you can do it. And this is one of those opportunities for us to be in the driver's seat of where we want to be as we face the challenges coming at us. I promised there would be resources. So here are a couple of websites that you can take a snap of this slide or jot them down. The tools that you're wanting to use, many of them are complimentary or bundled, are here. Video, again, I cannot overstate the value, but truly build video in and start connecting with folks. There's good news here. We can do this. The future is here. It's coming at us one way or another. And these pivot points, these big opportunities, are when we level up and we decide how we want to face what comes next. I would love to answer any of your questions, and don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn or visit Answer Connect's website. We believe in helping the world work anywhere, so I would be thrilled to help any of you start to face the steps that it takes to get there. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Natalie. That was a fantastic presentation. Thank you for your insights. We have a question for you.
Okay.
What are the upcoming trends that you see coming in post-COVID, apart from just the work from home concept?
I think the way that people shop, the way that they do business, the way they connect, what they expect from a customer service or interaction point, it's all changing. So I think this is all being reimagined. As through my lens, looking at how we support small and mid-sized businesses, I think that video and video reception is going to be bigger. It's something that, we probably shied a bit away from years back, but all of us have been connecting through some video platform, whether it is FaceTime or Zoom or Teleport, all year to connect with our family and friends. So I really think about that experience of shopping and customer service and interactions pivoting and changing in those ways.
Great, wonderful. Once again, Natalie, thanks so much for taking time off your busy schedule and joining us at this summit. We wish you and Answer Connect the very best going forward.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you, everyone.